Allegro is a multinational entity with operations around the globe, including in country B. Allegro is resident for domestic law purposes in country A. So there are two countries, A and B. Resident for domestic law purposes in country A on the basis, on the basis that it has a management team who are all resident in Allegro. So they are giving you criteria basis which make Allegro, this multinational entity, resident for domestic law purposes in country A. That it has a management team who are all residents of Allegro and make all of Allegro's key commercial decisions. And secondly, Allegro is recognized as a separate legal entity for tax and company law purposes under the laws of country A. Okay, so what do you have? You have this. So we have country A and country B tax treaty. So you have this company Allegro. Okay. ALG, Allegro, fine. Allegro is a resident. So Allegro is a resident. Allegro is a resident for domestic law purposes in country A on the basis that it has a management team. So this entity Allegro has a management team. So let us have a management team. So they also have a management team. This would be a part of this, but fine. Just for the sake of clarity, you have management team. You have a management team who are all residents of Allegro. So management team, they would comprise, this would comprise personnel. Fine. So they have personnel and they are all, management team is, they are residents and these are natural persons. Management team, these are all residents of Allegro, right? And they make all of Allegro's key commercial decisions, right? Management team, so they make key commercial decisions. Factual, very important. So management team takes up key commercial decisions. And it is recognized as a separate legal entity for tax and company law purposes under the laws of country A. So this is, let us take up second. So it's a legal entity. It's a legal entity. You can assume it's a company for company law purposes, for tax and company law purposes. Fine, so legal entity. In addition to the management team, Allegro has 6 directors who live in various countries around the world. So Allegro has 6 directors. Okay. Allegro has 6 directors. So you have 6 directors. Allegro has 6 directors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, right? 5 and 6. Allegro has 6 directors who live in various countries around the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of the directors is a resident in country A, right? So this is resident in country A. Directors. He is a director D. Director D, and he is a resident in country A. Right? And another in country B. Okay, so this is a resident and he is a director and he is a resident of country B, with the remaining directors living in other countries. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, they are in other countries. Leave them. The directors meet twice every year in different locations, okay, with the meetings occasionally taking place in country A or country B. They meet twice a year in different locations with the meetings occasionally taking place in country A or country B. If directors are unable to attend a meeting in person, they attend remotely via teleconference from their respective countries of residence. Full stop. Okay. The directors and the management team are two separate bodies of person. This is important. The directors, so these are directors. Directors and management team, they are separate bodies. We have shown them to be separate. Directors and management team are separate bodies of persons which have different roles within Allegro. The directors sign off on decisions reached by the management team. Okay, so you find that the actual substantive role is that of the management team, and director's role is merely signatory. They are only signing. Fine. The directors sign off on decisions reached by the management team. So they sign off. Allegro is also a tax resident. Now, fine. So next paragraph. Allegro is also a tax resident under the domestic law of country B. This is the interesting part. Till now, whatever information was given to you, that was pertaining to country A. Now, country B's turn. Allegro is also a tax resident under the domestic law of country B due to its incorporation there. Okay, so Allegro is incorporated in country B, right? See this? Okay, right? So this is Allegro Co. It is incorporated here. So it is resident here, right? Resident for tax purposes under country B due to its incorporation there. Allegro's contracts are governed by the law of country B, right? The substantive contracts, commercial contracts, they are governed by country B's law. So country B contracts, we'll write here contracts. Law of country B. Contract governed by law of country B. And its headquarters are also in country B. So let us assume that this Allegro, this is resident, and you also have headquarters. Now, the double taxation agreement DTA between A and B DTA is a covered tax agreement that also mirrors the OECD Model Tax Convention 2017 Article 4. Double tax agreement is a covered tax agreement that also mirrors the OECD Model Tax Convention 2017 Article 4. Covered tax agreement, I told you when we were discussing MLI yesterday, I told you that covered tax agreements are those agreements which are covered by the multilateral instrument, which are modified by the multilateral instrument. Fine, they are covered tax agreements. So double tax agreement between A and B is a covered tax agreement that also mirrors the OECD Model Tax Convention 2017, although you don't require MLI here. They say that it's an agreement, it's a tax treaty. AB tax treaty is similar to OECD MTC 2017 and Article 4, because they also know that there is a question pertaining to Article 4. So Article 4, therefore you are required to, now the questions. Number 1, prepare a memo outlining the residence status of Allegro for the purposes of country AB tax treaty DTA. 20 marks, major part. Second, consider how the situation might change were country A or B to introduce rules into their domestic tax law to provide an exemption from taxation for the foreign source income of certain foreign companies. 5 marks. we'll take this afterwards. But first, the 20 marks, the major part is prepare a memo outlining the residential status of Algero for the purposes of country A, B tax treaty. So this is your crux. This is, and I have gone very slowly because we are discussing when you would attempt this question, whether personally or in the examination, at your own pace. But yes, as I repeated in, as I said, as I used to repeat in TP, diagrams. I know that it's an online examination. You have to key and you have to type in your answers, but you can make use of rough papers. Fine. And you have to, if you draw the diagram, then the things will become very clear to you. It's more so in case of TP, because TP requires time. Every question, part A question name, 1 or 1.5 page question. But by the time you are finished with the question, reading of the question and drawing of the diagram, then you don't need to go to the question paper. Then everything you can have the question paper, then you can have that rough sheet diagram with diagram on it in front of you, and you can simply write. So this is your question. So you have, this is part B, question number 6. So therefore, what is the question? That residential status, residence status of Algero. This is the prime. Chetna, did you understand the question? And Mr. Nishant, you too. Have you understood the question? It's a fairly simple question.
Yes.
Chetna?
Yes, Manoj.
Okay. So would you like to attempt this question? Or at least give me, how should I begin? How should I begin? Which article do I need to refer to?
For the resident status, I will go with Article 4.
Right. You will go with Article 4. Absolutely true. We will go with Article 4. Article 4, you would remember, Article 4, we have the Model Tax Convention also with us. Article 4 has 3 clauses or 3 paragraphs. 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. 4.1 defines who is a resident of a contracting state, quote unquote. Article 4 is titled as resident. But then 4.1, Article 4 titled resident. 4.1 is resident of a contracting state. 4.1 says that for the purposes of this convention, the term resident of a contracting state means any person who under the laws of that state is liable to tax therein by reason of his domicile, residence, place of management, or any other criterion of a similar nature. 4.1 defines who is a resident of a contracting state. Any person who under the laws of that state, any person, for example, Algero, who under the laws of that state A, who under the laws of that state B, is liable to tax therein. Algero is liable to tax in A, yes. Algero is liable to tax in B, yes. By reason of his domicile, residence, place of management, or any other criterion of a similar nature. This is 4.1. 4.2, you would remember, you have tiebreaker rule for natural persons, where you have RR conflict for natural persons. For natural persons, wherever you have this RR conflict, that is A and B say that a particular natural person, human being, is my resident. B says that he is my resident. So you have RR conflict. So for resolving that RR conflict, you go to 4.2. They have a series of rules, tiebreaker rules. 4.2 is tiebreaker rules for your natural person, for resolving the RR conflict pertaining to natural persons. Permanent home, centers of vital interest, habitual abode, domicile or nationality, and if nothing works out, then you go to map. 4.2, and I have told you, because we had a very long, in fact we discussed all the articles of the tax treaties in great detail. Yeah, I remember I drew that diagram, and Mr. Nishant, you were also present in that class. I remember.
Yes.
You were present, yes. And I had drawn that flow chart. And I told you that 4.2 will give you a conclusive answer. It will resolve in more than 95% of the cases. It will resolve the RR conflict pertaining to that natural person, individual. Fine. 4.2. 4.3 is RR conflict for your persons other than natural persons, that is legal entities, companies. So you have companies or other legal entities, companies, dual residence companies, and I also remember dual resident companies. And when we went to the commentary as well as the reading of the article, I told you the article, in fact 4.3, the article is not conclusive. 4.3 is not conclusive because it says that whenever you have a dual resident company, then you directly go to map. And in this case, A and B tax authorities, they will sit together, map article 25. They will sit together and they will decide how to resolve this conflict, RR conflict. And 4.3 then gives you number of factors that this decision by A and B tax authorities, that has to be made keeping in mind a number of factors, place of effective management, place of incorporation. Fine. And then there are other factors as well. 4.3 and 4.3, because it is not conclusive, therefore 4.3 says that if the conflict is not resolved, as per article 25, using article 25, then no relief will be given to this company. It will be subjected to double taxation. No other problem, no other option. Fine. Commentary says that this is the case because OECD after BEPS, because 2017 MTC 2017, this is post BEPS. 2014 Model Tax Convention included in article 4.3. 4.3 was very simple in 2014. You simply had the place of effective management, POEM, done. Wherever in two countries, if there's a company and you have a RR conflict, then you simply look at the place of effective management of that company, and the country which will have the POEM of that company. POEM is POEM, place of effective management. So whichever country used to have that POEM of that company, that country used to win. That was in 2014 Model Tax Convention. 2017 Model Tax Convention, after BEPS 1.0, OECD mentions in this commentary that the cases of dual resident companies are rare. But then wherever they are, in most of those cases, it is found that they enter into some tax avoidance and tax evasion scheme. That is why 4.3 they have taken out that POEM rule, and they say that the dual residence RR conflict will be decided on a case-to-case basis. And right from stage 1 you go to map. This is your crux of 4.3. That is why it is not conclusive. So even if 4.3 says that even if you are not able to resolve this conflict, then also if the countries feel that some relief has to be given to the company, RR, that dual resident company, then countries can give that relief. But then it is it is their discretion, it is their wish. They may not. Chetna, Nishant, is this point clear? Mr. Nishant, this is 4.3. Yes, I have simply revised. Please come to page number 30. Page number 30. Model Tax Convention, OECD MTC, page number 30. Page number 30. Have you reached?
Yes.
Chetna?
Yes, Manoj.
See this, Article 4 resident. Chetna, you have a question?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Article 4 resident. See, I have summarized Article 4. Let us quickly go through these articles, these clauses. I'll take it to the commentary and then I'll give you a structure. But then I'll ask you, which country in this case do you think will win? Fine? Article 4 resident. 4.1, for the purposes of this convention, the term resident of a contracting state means any person who under the laws of that state is liable to tax therein by reason of his domicile, residence, place of management or any other criterion of a similar nature, and also includes state and that any political subdivision. Leave this. Full stop. This term, however, does not include any person who is liable to tax in that state in respect only of income from sources in that state or capital situated therein. This last sentence pertains to, I told you, this pertains to diplomats. Fine. For this question, this last sentence is not of importance. For our purpose, for this question, the first sentence of paragraph 4.1 is important. That for the purpose of this convention, the term resident of a contracting state means any person who under the laws of that state is liable to tax therein by reason of his domicile, residence, place of management or any other criterion of a similar nature. We'll use this statement while we write the answer. I'll give you the structure, don't worry. 4.2, whereby reason of the provision of paragraph 1, an individual is a resident of both contracting states, then his status shall be determined as follows. Fine. He shall be deemed to be a resident only of that state in which he has a permanent home available to him. If he has a permanent home available to him in both the states, deemed to be a resident only of that state with which his personal economic relations are closer, centers of vital interest. B. Centers of vital interest cannot be determined, or if he has not a permanent home available to him in either state, he shall be deemed to be a resident only of the state in which he has a habitual abode. C. Habitual abode in both the states or neither of them, he shall be deemed to be a resident only of the state which he is a national domicile. D. If he is a national of both the states or of neither of them, the competent authorities of the contracting state shall settle the question by mutual agreement. Fine. We will make reference to this 4.2, but as it is clear that 4.2 is not of importance in our case, because you don't have to decide the RR conflict for an individual. You have to decide that RR conflict for the company. It's an entity other than the natural person. 4.3. See, where by reasons of the provision of paragraph 1, a person other than an individual, this is the provision, other than an individual is a resident of both contracting state, the competent authorities of the contracting state shall endeavor to determine by mutual agreement the contracting state of which such person shall be deemed to be a resident for the purposes of the convention, having regard to its place of effective management, POEM, the place where it is incorporated or otherwise constituted, and any other relevant factors. Full stop. In the absence of such agreement, such person shall not be entitled to any relief or exemption from tax provided by this convention, except to the extent and in such manner as may be agreed upon by the competent authorities of the contracting state. So 4.3, that is clearly mapped right from the word go. Right. Okay. So before we start writing, giving the formal structure, now you can attempt. So you have to see Let us read 4.3 once again, and now I'll use A, B and ALG the way we have been reading the articles. Let us read 4.3 once again. Where by reason of the provisions of paragraph 1, that is 4.1, comma, a person algero other than an individual, yes, is a resident. A person algero other than an individual is a resident of both contracting states A and B, comma, the competent authorities of the contracting states A and B shall endeavour to determine by mutual agreement the contracting state of which such person algero shall be deemed to be a resident for the purposes of AB convention, comma, having regard to the place of effective management of algero, comma, the place where it is incorporated, the place where algero is incorporated or otherwise constituted, and any other relevant factors. Chetna, we have all the factors. Now come to the basic question. Who do you think will win in this case? State A or state B? We have everything on the board. We have seen the law. We have seen the convention article. How do you think this will play out? Algero is a tax resident of both the countries A and B under their respective domestic law. Although it is not mentioned that algero has a place of effective management in country A, but we know that algero has a management team, and management team, all the residents, all the persons who make up the management team, they are the residents of A. Very important, right? They make the key commercial decisions. Algero also has directors, 6 directors. They sign off. They occasionally meet in A or B, otherwise they meet in other locations. They may even assemble in an online mode. Sometimes they meet in A, sometimes they meet in B. And out of those 6 directors, so directors, they have a signatory role. They simply approve the decisions. And out of those 6 directors, 1 director is the resident of A. So these are the points in favor of A. These are the factors that A authorities, when they go for map with B, they will put forth that because of these, I think, and I have my very strong case, that algero is my resident. Algero is the resident of the contracting state A. B, we would say, but I have the headquarters. Headquarters is in my country. It is incorporated in my country. It is incorporated in my country. It is resident in my country. It has headquarters. One of the 6 directors, he is also my resident. And the contracts, the substantive contracts, the commercial contracts, they are governed by my law. So how do you say that he is your resident? It is your resident. Algero is my resident. Algero is my resident. Chetna, what do you think?
Well, they have to go for a map, but I'm not sure how to present it because I would give the for the definition of Article 4 mentioning about the country A, and then also what how he is a resident in country B, and then they should go for a map.
Excellent.
The conclusion part.
Excellent. Go ahead. Excellent. Go ahead. Then.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how do I present with the map and the conclusion part because
they
this is how I begin.
they have deliberately given you this fact pattern. if it is not a black and white case, both of you would agree. Mr. Nishant, I am coming to you. It's not a black and white case. It's clear. And they have deliberately given you this. It's not a black and white case. So they want you to present your answer from both the sides. You can, at the end, you can go either in favor of A, either in favor of B. Because even when I read this question, both the countries have a very strong case, but then towards the end I tend to I would get in favor of A, because management team, you can either go, but this is my opinion. And let me tell you, in TP I used to say that in TP there is no right or wrong answer. More the number of issues you are able to spot in, issue spotting, more the number of issues you are able to spot in, more the variety you are able to present in your answer, the better marks you will get. Similarly here also, although tax treaties, they can be resolved very conclusively, but then here also, more the number of issues you are able to spot, the better your chances of getting good marks are. Fine. So more than the right or the wrong part, because see, in this case you don't have a very conclusive, you don't have a clear cut answer that A will win. And this is the situation that you would face in the real life. That is why they have given you this question. Because see, companies, the dual resident company, when they are entering into a tax planning scheme, they are very clever. They're very clever. They have a team of tax consultants. So you would find this sort of. So it is only how you present your answer that is important. So this is, don't worry. I mean, your approach is very correct. Mr. Nishant, yes. Now your turn.
From beginning only, I feel that the B is the state who has a very strong case. The basic question is that the person where he was born, where he was incorporated.
Right.
That give you the natural right, first natural right. Now it is onus on the state A to demonstrate that no, though he was incorporated in state B, but since it become a point, only the strong case A can make is the point. In this case, it's not that the company is becoming poem in A, because they are not taking a vital decision from the state A, sometimes state A, sometimes X, Y, Z countries, or online. So that is why state A will not be able to demonstrate that company become a poem from state A.
That is why
only the strong, if mostly the company, a legal person will be tax resident of the state where it was incorporated. Now there are certain circumstances when it become a tax resident of the other state. Out of this, one most important is the poem. Poem is the one which give a right to other state to claim that XYZ is a resident of my country. In current case, I don't see any. There are certain factors which may trigger poem, but still it is very difficult to establish that the company is poem from state A. As long as poem will not trigger, it will be a very weak case for the state A to demonstrate the resident of state A. In that case, I think B will win.
Okay, fine. So in your case, your option can switch off your mind. So you are saying that in your opinion, B should win, and the point that you've raised it, that the place of incorporation is the place where the company is born. That's a very good point. You can in your answer present that. Fine. So if you can, and you have, I listened to all your points, and all the points which you've raised, they are very pertinent. They are very relevant. So accordingly, you can tilt in favor of B. Because see, I've already mentioned this point. that although they have this management team here, the question falls short of mentioning that they have a poem here. The question has not mentioned this. The question does not mention that they have a poem in that they have a place of effective management in state A. So that is why I am saying that given the fact pattern, and one more point that you can include, Mr. Nishant, in your answer, is that the commercial, because companies, they carry out commercial activities, and ultimately the contractual law, the substantive law which governs the commercial contract, that is the law of country B. So you can use that. As far as my decision is concerned, because I know how OECD Montreal Convention works, and I have seen number of scholars and number of academicians, they say, even, you know what, when I went for my LLM during that time, I also used to think in this way, that the place where the company is born, that is the place of incorporation, is the place where the company should be deemed as resident of that contracting state. But then I have seen scholars, academicians, places that place of incorporation is immaterial. The real, ultimately, company is not a natural person, it's a legal person. So the place where it is effectively managed, that governs. Now, but the only point is that you cannot conclusively say that you have a poem in state A. Why? Because the question doesn't mention that. The only strong point is that the management team is taking the key decisions, key commercial decisions, and directors, they are signing. So that is why I am saying that in this case, both the countries, they can make their claims, fairly strong claims, that this algero is my resident of the contracting state A or resident of a contracting state B.
I think this question was more towards the poem. They wanted to understand whether we understand that though company was incorporated in state B, but it may become a resident of state A if we establish, and that is why they were silent on statement stating that the company is a poem in state A. Now see the resident, all the directors you can of state A is totally irrelevant.
Not all directors. Only one director is the resident of state A, not all. 4 directors, they are not residents of state A. Only one director is resident of state A and one director is resident of state B. 4 directors, they are resident of other countries. That is why they are shown, the arrows, the lines are open.
Is it irrelevant whether director is a resident of A or B? The point
that does not. See, that is not relevant. The residential status of directors is not relevant. What is relevant is the place where the company is effectively managed. So that is why I am saying that in this case, management is being done from country A, but approval of those decisions is being done by the directors who meet sometimes in A and sometimes in B. 4 are not residents of either A or B. One is the resident of A, other is the resident of state B. Fine. But then directors role, it's very clearly mentioned, the directors and board of directors and management teams, they are two separate bodies of persons. And their role is signatory. So if you would see the effective management, I'm still not saying that place of effective management, but if you would see the effective management or the commercial management is being done from country A, but the incorporation is here. Then commercial contracts there. So that is why I am saying you can tilt in favor of A or B. There is no one answer. There is no one answer for this question. Please come to this paragraph on the commentary. And this is what this is exactly what will happen in the examination. Some of the, for example, you will go with B, I would go with A, Chetna would go with either. Fine. So it's completely your wish with which country you want to go. Please come to page number 112, page number 112, commentary on 4.3. Commentary on 4.3. Page 112, commentary on paragraph 3, that is 4.3. Paragraph 21. This paragraph concerns companies and other bodies of persons irrespective of whether they are or not legal persons. It may be rare in practice for a company etc. to be subject to tax as a resident in more than one state, but it is of course possible if for one instance one state attaches importance to the registration, that is incorporation, and the other state to the place of effective management. One state, US, I think US has a very strong incorporation criteria, registration. Other state, place of effective management. So in the case of companies etc., also special rules as to the preference must be established. 22. When paragraph 3 was first drafted, it was considered that it would not be an adequate solution to attach importance to a purely, see this, when paragraph 3 was first drafted, it was considered that it would not be appropriate solution, adequate solution, sufficient solution to give importance to a purely formal criterion like registration, incorporation, and preference was given to a rule based on the place of effective management, which was intended to be based on the place where the company etc. was actually managed.
This is very true. This is very true.
Yeah.
Yes, first, normally 90% cases, the company where it is registered is the state where it is a tax resident. Only in 10% cases, means what they are saying that don't think you register in contract in a state B, it means
exactly.
But naturally not.
That is why when I said that after reading the question, my first thought in my mind was, okay, fine, they have a very strong case, but then I would go with state A because I have read these things number of times. I know how they operate. Fine, okay. 23. In 2017, however, the Committee on Fiscal Affairs recognized that although situations of double residence of entities other than individual were relatively rare, there had been a number of tax avoidance cases involving dual resident companies. It therefore concluded that a better solution to the issue of dual residence of entities other than individual was to deal with such situation on a case-by-case basis. I have already told you that. Case-by-case, map from the word go, starting. As a result of this consideration, the current version of paragraph 3 provides that the competent authorities of the contracting states shall endeavour to resolve by mutual agreement cases of dual residence of a person other than an individual. 24.1. Competent authorities having to apply paragraph 3 would be expected to take account of various factors, such as the meetings of the person's board of directors or equivalent body. Meetings of the person's board of directors or equivalent body are usually held, where the CEO, other senior executives usually carry on their activities, where the senior day-to-day management of the person, is carried on, where the person's headquarters are located. Fine. So CEO, person's board of directors, meetings usually held, sometimes A, sometimes B, sometimes other, sometimes online. CEO, other senior executives usually carry on their activities, not clearly mentioned. If you find that management team comprised, then they are in A, but it's not clear. Where the senior day-to-day management of the person is carried on, so commercial management in state A, headquarter in state B, where the person headquarters state B. Which country's laws govern the legal status of the person? Country B. Commercial status? Country B. So it's like,
actually they took the question from this 24.1. 24.1 is right close. You see, all these points are coming in the question. Headquarters.
So that is why I am saying that if you so now you have that key paragraph. So if you look at the question, so you would find that 50% of the factors would be in favor of A, 50% in favor of B. So you can mention the conclusion you can write in the answer is that it's very difficult. So it will not be resolved, and therefore the company will not be given any double taxation relief, except whatever relief A and B authorities might want to give. Or you can go with A or you can go with B. Fine. Okay, I'll give you the structure. Don't worry. Whether determining now. Which country's laws govern the legal status of a person where its accounting records are kept, whether determining that the legal person is a resident, whether determining that legal person is a resident of one of the contracting states but not of the other for the purpose of the convention would carry the risk of an improper use of the convention, etc. Countries, fine. Right? So these are the factors. 24.2. A determination under paragraph 3 will normally be requested by the person concerned through the mechanism provided for under paragraph 1 of article 25.1, and we know what is 25.1. Now we had a fairly long discussion on this aspect, so now we conclude that actually there are three conclusions. Let me give you that structure. Fine, let me give you that structure. We've had, and now you have all the commentary paragraphs. You have 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. You have the paragraphs, commentary paragraphs which you have to make a reference to. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 24.1 and 24.2, all these commentary paragraphs. Now we can write. Okay. Yeah, just a small point. Before you start writing the questions, before you start writing the answers, write this before you start writing, because you will make a reference to the commentary paragraphs. Very important. That is why we read throughout the course. We have referred to the commentary paragraphs. Fine. So you have to make at least 4 to 5 references in every question. Commentary paragraphs. At least 4 to 5, and you can even make more than that. Fine. So in the beginning of when you start writing the answer, use this. Write something. Important note, and write that in the answers below, in all the answers below, the following citation style is used. The following citation style is used. What is that? C4, for example, you can use any article. C424, right? This means that reference is being made. Reference is being made to commentary. Reference is being made to commentary paragraph number 24. Reference is being made to, note at commentary here. Reference is being made to paragraph number 24 to the commentary on Article 4 of the OECD Model Tax Convention. You can write Model Tax Convention 2017. Important, write this in the beginning when you start writing the question. Before that, at the very top, important note, in all the answers below, the following citation style is used, and then this is the citation style. Example, C424. This means that reference is being made to paragraph number 24 to the commentary on Article 4 of the OECD Model Tax Convention 2017. You can use C424, you can use C1025, you can use C1, anything. But when you write this, ADIT, CIOT, they will understand that you are using this citation style. If you do not explain this, then remember, then just think, how would you refer to so many paragraphs in the commentary? Every time you will have to write this in bracket, paragraph number 27 of Article 10 of OECD MTC. So if you write this in the beginning just once, then throughout the answers you can use this C424. This means commentary on Article 4, paragraph number 24. C1025, commentary on Article 10, paragraph number 25. C1130, commentary on Article 11, paragraph number 30. C29182, commentary on Article 29, paragraph number 182. This was the citation style that was taught to us in my LLM, in our LLM, and I am sharing this with you. Chetna, Nishant, Mr. Nishant, is this clear, the significance why you should do this? Yes or no?
Yes.
Right? Very important.
Yes, sir.
It will save you a lot of time. And in case of TPG, what was the thing? TPG, the citation style. TPG, I told you that you should use this. TPG 1.33. So this means that reference is being made to paragraph number 1.33 of OECD TPG 2022. Simple. In case of TP examination paper, use this. In case of PIT, use this. You write it once and you are done for the entire question paper, entire answer sheets. Fine? So very, very important. So this is citation taken care of, right? Okay. So now let us come to the question. I'll give you the structure. We have seen everything. Structure. Question 6.1. Structure that you have to follow. I mean, you might choose to have another question, another structure, that is your wish, but structure of the answer. First of all, introduction. Always write an introduction, always write a conclusion. Two sections, they are fixed. Always introduction, or even if it is a small one, and even if you have a small conclusion, but always write that. Introduction. What you will write in the introduction? Introduction, you will write, what is the question? Memo outlining the residential status of Algero for the purposes of the country. Oh. Introduction. See, this question relates to determining the residential status of a dual resident entity Algero. I repeat, this question pertains to determining the residential status of a dual resident entity algero for the purposes of AB double taxation convention or double taxation agreement. This question pertains to determining the residential status of a dual resident entity algero for the purposes of AB double taxation agreement, DTA or DTC. Full stop. This is important. This is important for the application of. This is important for the application of AB double tax convention. Full stop. This is important for the application of the AB double taxation convention because Article 1.1 of the OECD Model Tax Convention, OECD MTC, mentions that the convention shall apply to persons who are residents of one or both of the contracting states. Therefore, determination of the residential status of algero will enable us to apply AB double taxation convention upon it. Full stop. Mr. Nishant and Chetna, is this introduction clear to you? I have given to you what is the thing that you are required to do, what is the requirement of the question, and why do you require to do that? Yes or no, Chetna and Mr. Nishant? This is the best introduction, according to me.
Excellent.
Fine. So we've seen what is the requirement of the question. Requirement of the question that you have to determine residential status and why. To satisfy Article 1.1, because that is convention shall apply to residents of one or both of the contracting states. Introduction done. First section done. Come to 2. So now you know that you have to determine the residence status. So now you go to Article 4. Now it is given that the AB double tax convention is similar to OECD MTC 2017, and we know that Article 4 of the OECD MTC pertains to the resident. Fine. Article 4.1. Don't copy everything from the text. Just give the gist of 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. For example, here you will say Article 4.1 says that for the purposes of convention, I remember, but Article 4.1 defines who is the resident of a contracting state. As per Article 4.1, resident of a contracting state is a person who is liable to tax therein because of residence, domicile, place of management, or any other criterion. 4.1 right here. The substance, not don't copy. Write the substance. Article 4.2 helps us. Article 4.2 enables us to resolve RR conflict pertaining to the residential status of a natural person. RR status 4.2 helps us to resolve the RR conflict, dual residence conflict pertaining to the residential status of a natural person. Article 4.2 contains a series of tiebreaker rules which make use of number of criteria: permanent home, CVA, centers of vital interest, domicile, nationality, the habitual abode, nationality. If in most of the cases 4.2 leads to a conclusive answer, but if it does not lead, then the option is to go to map 4.2. Although in this case, right, although in this question 4.2 is not of much use, you can write or don't write this, just mention what is 4.2, then come to 4.3, substance of 4.3 is the key. 4.3 is the key provision. 4.3 is the key article. 4.3 is the key article that helps us, that is relevant for the purposes of this question, because it enables us to resolve the RR conflict pertaining to persons other than individuals. Then write the substance. 4.3 relevant RR conflict persons other than individuals. Write the substance. As per 4.3, the resolution of the RR conflict has to be done by resorting to mutual agreement procedure under map. RR conflict by map. Fine. Map. Under 4.3, the tax authorities, competent authorities of state A and state B, they can make use of relevant criteria, including place of effective management, place of incorporation, etc. This is the substance of your 4.3, right? Then what you can do, 4.3, then you can come to commentary for paragraph number 24.1, which has just been mentioned. 24 and then 24.1, you can refer to this paragraph, all the paragraphs which we referred to, especially this one, 24.1. As per 24.1, the commentary mentions that different criteria which can be used include place of effective management, place of incorporation, place of headquarters, place which governs the legal status of the person. Fine. So all this, and you have made the reference to 24 and 24.1. Then again change the paragraph. So see, what have you done till now? You have given the introduction, you have come to the relevant article, you have seen the provision of 4, 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3. Fine. 2 parts. Then the third part of the question. Third part, what you will do? Okay. Third part, what you will do? Third part. Now you will apply the provisions of Article 4 to the question. That as per the given question, as per the given fact pattern, application of, say, commentary 24.1 to the question. That is A's case. What is the case of A? Case of A is that it has a management team. Management team is the resident. Management team is comprised of personnel who are all the residents of the state A. Key commercial decisions are made in state A. Algero is a legal entity for tax purposes in state A. One of the directors is also a resident of state A. So A's case you have mentioned. Then write B's case. It is the headquarter, incorporation, one of the directors. So mention A's case and B's case, the discussion that we've done. Fine. So this would be section number 3. After section number 3, okay, after section number 3, now you can rub this. After section number 3, what you will do, because now we remember the question. After section number 3, what you can do is, after section number 3, so now you have, like a lawyer, you have made the case of both the parties. And now if you want, you can make a conclusion. Number 4, conclusion. Or rather not conclusion, decision. Your decision. Whether you want to go with state A or B, your wish. I would say, based on the discussion, based on the foregoing above discussion, in my opinion, Algaro should be deemed to be a resident of state A because of this. Mr. Nishan would write state B, this. Fine. So this will be your decision. Or you can say that because on the basis of the foregoing, it is very difficult to come to a conclusion. And therefore state A and state B under MAP proceedings, they will not be able to decide, and therefore Algaro will be subjected to double taxation. So A or B or AB, completely your option. Fine. Now 5, if you still have some time in your hand, then write some things, few lines about MAP. Article 25.1. Just write something about importance of MAP, because ultimately importance of MAP. At least make 25.1, because you have a commentary paragraph. We just now read that Article 24.2. Make this reference C424.2. As per the commentary provision C424.2, Article 4.3 makes use of MAP right from the word go, right from the initial stages, wherein Algaro will approach state A and state B authorities for the resolution of this conflict. So therefore MAP becomes a very important and very essential mechanism for the resolution of this conflict, right? So the examiner will know that you are not only taking up, you have mentioned Article 1, you have thoroughly examined Article 4, you have also mentioned Article 25, and you have also mentioned commentary paragraphs, right? Now you can conclude. Conclusion. What do you write in conclusion? Conclusion, you already have a conclusion from the commentary. Paragraph number 23. C423. This 23 paragraph mentions that in 2017 post BEPS, OECD realized that dual residence are conflict pertaining to companies were rare, but wherever they were used as tax evading mechanisms, and that is why in 2017 MTC OECD has taken out place of effective management rule, and they have substituted MAP to be used on a case to case basis. Done. Yes or no? This would be the structure. So you have completed, you've covered 6 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chetna, Mr. Nishan, this is the way how I would like to answer this question. 45 minutes, you've taken 1 hour 30 minutes. Yes or no? Mr. Nishan and Chetna?
Yes.
Fine. So this is one of the ways. By which you can answer this question. Fine. And we have covered everything. We have covered everything, and it's a very logical and organized way of presentation. Starting with introduction, you have conclusion, and then the logical sequence of flow. Fine. So this takes care of your